So you think you're maybe not a yacht club person? Well, we certainly never would have told anybody that we were. Now we can't believe how excited we are to be members of our club. Hi, I'm Nika Waters and welcome to the Boat Galley podcast. Today I'm sharing some of the things that we love about the club that we belong to, even though, boy, it took a lot of kicking and screaming before we decided to take the plunge. Today's episode of the Boat Galley podcast is sponsored by Teak Guard from allguardproducts.com. Looking to refinish your boat's teak with a minimum of mess and fuss? Look no further. Our non-toxic, water-based formulas for cleaning and finish will turn your teak from dingy to sparkling in no time. Use coupon code BG20 for 15% off of your order of $50 or more. allguardproducts.com. Admire your teak, not maintain it. For the longest time, we were absolutely of the opinion that yacht clubs were this bastion of blue blazered, nose in the air, elitist snobs. Yep, I said it. We thought people who were yacht club members were snobs. This is despite the fact that I had a fair amount of experience going to a yacht club in Rochester, New York with my friend Louise when I was in high school. And that wasn't exactly blue blazered and nose in the air. Certainly there was a level of expected dress and there was a way that you comported yourself, but it wasn't anything terrible. I didn't feel unwelcome when I was there, and I'm not exactly the most formal looking person that you've ever run into. But when it came time to figuring out a place for us to be with our boat, we had a number of options. We are currently in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay, and for a long time had our boat in York River Yacht Haven, which felt like a good place. And when we got back to the East Coast after our first cruise, it was a great spot to be because friends of ours lived pretty close to there and could keep an eye on the boat. Actually, I think David could almost see the boat from his office, so he could keep an eye on it. And when we were helping our friends cross the Atlantic, that was a huge peace of mind because the boat was hauled out. And then when it came time to just put the boat in the water after we were done with that, we kept it right there at that marina. And then we went poking around and looked in Deltaville and realized that Deltaville was pretty great because there were a number of different options that we had. York River Yacht Haven is beautiful and wonderful, but it's the only marina in the area, really. And so the prices are maybe a little less than competitive as they might be in a place where there are more options. So when we looked in Deltaville, we looked around, and I think we found like 10 or 11 different places that we could leave our boat in Deltaville, one of them being Fishing Bay Yacht Club, which never came onto our radar screen at all. We're not yacht club people. At all. So we put our boat elsewhere, and then we were hauled out, and the boat next to us, Ted, came by and was talking to us. As you do when you're in a boatyard, you talk to the people who are hauled out next to you when you're both working on your boat. And he mentioned how much he liked being at Fishing Bay Yacht Club. Now, his primary reason back then was the financial aspect. The thing is, with Fishing Bay Yacht Club, it was less expensive to become members and have our boat at a slip there than it was just to have a slip somewhere else. So remember the guy that I was telling you about earlier who could keep his eye on our boat from his office when we had it down at York River? Well, they're some of our oldest friends. David and Allison we met when we were in college, and in fact, Allison introduced Jeremy and me to each other. We've known them for a very, very long time. And David and Allison are actually members at Fishing Bay Yacht Club. And they said, hey, we would love to sponsor you. Be great to have you join the club. It's a wonderful place to be. Still, we had great deep reservations. Swallowing those, we got up the nerve to write to the club secretary to ask for information and started the whole membership application process. I will say we've never ever regretted that decision. We've been members since 2004, and we can't tell you how happy we are that we joined the club. So I thought I would share 5 things that we love about our club. And they may be things that you want to think about if you're looking at possibly joining a club where you happen to be. Number 1, we love the location. We're just minutes from being out in the bay. In fact, we can leave our slip on the boat, go out Jackson Creek, and we can be sailing in the bay within 15 minutes. That's a pretty huge deal. There are a number of places that we could keep the boat that would take a lot longer to get out to the bay. For instance, the old marina where we were down off of the York River, that was a 5-mile jaunt to get out into the bay. By being this close to being in the bay, it means that destinations that we want to go to are a lot closer than if we had to take a long time to get actually out to the bay to even start the journey to wherever we wanted to go. The other side of the club is on Fishing Bay. So there's frontage on Jackson Creek, which opens right out into the bay, and then Fishing Bay, which also opens out into the bay. Fishing Bay Yacht Club is in Deltaville, which is at the junction of the Piankatank and the Rappahannock rivers. Fishing Bay is where the small boats sail out of, and it's this nice wide open big bay, and that's the side of the club where the small boat ramp is. There's actually a beach, and there's a swimming pool there as well. And there's also a T-dock that you can pull up to if you happen to be cruising and you need to stop in for something and not deal with the dinghy. We love that there's options. And often if the weather is blowing terribly on one side, it's really beautiful on the other. It's kind of cool having both those options available to us. Reason number 2 we love the club is that it's a sailing club. There aren't any fishing boats or trawlers at the dock. There actually aren't even any jet skis allowed to launch on our boat ramp. I think that's awesome. There are a few dinghies on racks, like motorboat dinghies, like we kept our dinghy on the dinghy rack for a while. And there are 2 club-owned powerboats that are on trailers that are used for race committee work. But other than that, the vibe is all sailing. It's cruising, it's racing, it's small boats, and we're all sailors. That's pretty spectacular. Reason number 3 we love being members of Fishing Bay is the town. Deltaville was once the boat building capital of the Chesapeake Bay. As I mentioned earlier, it's right at the junction of the Rappahannock River and the Piankatank River, where those 2 rivers merge into the bay. Deltaville is a sweet little sleepy little town. It's got a fantastic hardware store in addition to West Marine. And in fact, that great hardware store often has a better selection of necessary boat gear and boat equipment, as well as the prices being tremendously better than at West Marine. There's a fabulous sailmaker in Littell Sales. There's an adequate grocery store, and there's an absolutely incredible seafood market. As we're working on the boat during this time, actually, our favorite thing to do on Fridays is to go grab crab cakes from J&W Seafood, take them back to the house, and we have crab cake Fridays. But I digress. Reason number 4 for loving Fishing Bay Yacht Club is that we're a volunteer-run club. We only have 2 paid employees. Well, it might be 3 now, because I think that the club manager who oversees the grounds and all the little details has actually hired an assistant. We've got a club secretary who keeps track of all the paperwork. And then in the summertime, there are lifeguards that are hired to help, and there are sailing coaches who coach at the junior week and junior program. But the rest of it all is members. We are expected to put in, I think, 2 volunteer days a year each. And we do everything from organizing events to staffing those events to cleaning up the club on major cleanup days, but also after events. We teach sailing during junior week. One of the things that I really love that's part of this whole ethos of the club is that there's no restaurant or bar on site. Instead, there are 2 kitchens that are available for members to use. It's all incredibly low-key, it's incredibly friendly and welcoming, and also lovely and social. And the last reason that we really love Fishing Bay Yacht Club, and my guess is that this is what you would find anywhere you would choose to join is the people. We came in already knowing a couple of the members, which was a great start. But I can tell you that people we've met over the years at the club and through the club have become incredibly amazing friends. And as we found when we're cruising, it doesn't matter how old you are or where you are in life or what size your boat is, or if you're a racer or a cruiser, the thing that matters is that you're sailors. Jeremy and I were just joking the other night about the fact that we're actually busier socially with friends in Deltaville than we've ever been in Charlottesville, even though we lived in Charlottesville for 20 years. And all of those people, except for David and Allison, are people we would never have met unless we were members of Fishing Bay Yacht Club. We absolutely and completely fly that burgee proudly. Can't wait to hoist it and have it going as we're cruising around. A side bonus that probably is true no matter where the club is that you're talking about is the scenery. Water and boats. What is not to love? So if you're on the fence about joining a yacht club, check it out. See what might be possible if you do. The rewards may well be better than you could ever have possibly intended. Thanks so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast today. We love it when you share this with your friends and leave us a review. Can't wait to see you next time.